And here comes Rory. Okay.
Okay. Welcome everybody to our special Park and Recreation meeting, and we're going to designate 2 people for us to recommend to the select board for membership on the design review committee for the Lars Anderson ice rink. Ours is only a recommendation, and it's up to the select board to designate the people. So I'm just going to launch right in. Millie, is that okay? And then I'll ask you to chime in when you at appropriate time. Okay. So we had 11 people apply to be on the design review committee as members of the general public. And of those 11 people, 3 don't live in Brookline, so they're not eligible.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
Took us down to 8. And then of those 8, 2 of those people have been recommended to the, or will be recommended to the select board by their particular committee or interest group. That's Andrew Mullins, who's a hockey coach, and he's being recommended to represent the hockey viewpoint. And Mary Dewart, as president of the Friends of Lars Anderson, is being recommended to represent the Friends group. So that leaves us with just 5 people.
6, no?
6 people. Yes, 6 people, sorry, 6 people. 8 minus 2 is 6. So now we have 6 people to review and make our recommendations. And I would like to propose that we pick someone, that we recommend people from the general public. So we have people representing the hockey interests. So I would like to recommend to the commission that we don't nominate another hockey person. We have people recommended from the Friends group, etc. So the 2 people at large are from the general public. And it's also interesting to note that this is a project that's chaired jointly by the building committee, the select board, and the Park and Recreation Commission. I guess it's and so we're all co-chairing that, and we're using the Park and Recreation Commission's process to designate 2 people from the general public, because we seem to be the only board in their design review committees that have representatives from the general public. For most building projects, they are told what commissions or committees they need to have people on their review committee. So anyway, that's why we're following the Park and Recreation process. Millie, do you want to add anything to that, please?
Yes, I just want to note that as part of the call for the DRC, we sent the letters out to the neighborhood of the Lars Anderson Park sometime around April 6th, and members of the public had 3 weeks, which is until April 27th, to apply. We also advertised through our social media and also did a blast to town meeting members to make sure that more people saw about the design review process. And in addition to that, towards a couple of days before the application was due, we also advertised this around the park. So again, hoping to get more interest and participation.
Thanks, Millie. And so of the 8, Carol has her hand raised. Go right ahead.
I have 2 questions. At least in the documentation I got, there was one person who didn't fill out the form.
Right, Ethan, is that who you're referring
Ethan,
to?
yeah.
So I don't know anything about Ethan. Ethan didn't write anything, so it's very hard to, I don't know what
we
to do
should
about that
cross him
tonight.
off, I think.
I think we should cross him off because he didn't write why he's interested.
I couldn't agree more. That's
Okay.
he was. And so
And my other question is, are there people from our commission appointed to the design review?
Well, Claire
Yes, in
Clara
another
is, but
meeting,
is anybody else?
we were supposed to have one from the Park and Recreation
okay,
Commission, and I was,
right.
and we have one from, they've put one person from Preservation. They've asked for one person from Friends of Lars Anderson, and that's Mary Dewart, who's been proposed for that. Again, it's all the Board of Selectmen who
Mhm.
does the designating. We are only making suggestions at this time. We are suggesting 2 people from the general public. They have already, they have someone from the hockey interest group, etc. So you know, based on trying to get someone who truly represents not one particular interest, but the general public, I thought I talked to Tim, and he said, for example, Robert Franklin, who actually lives on
Yeah.
LaGrange Street.
LaGrange is the street.
Right, exactly. He's there almost every day of the skating, and he's there with his grandchildren, so he's there with, so I thought he would be a good, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna make 2 suggestions. You can say you disagree, you don't like them, you prefer someone else. So I thought Robert Franklin would be great, and I also thought Wadner Oge, I'm not sure how you pronounce his.
Wadna Ogi.
Say that again, please.
Wadna Ogi.
Wadna Obi. Oh, okay.
He's the lawyer, right?
He's a
Yes.
lawyer. He's also a town meeting member in precinct 15.
And has young children, so I thought it'd be great to have someone who had young children who use the rink a lot. So I'd like to propose those 2 people, but I'd like to hear your feedback and what you think, or if you had different people in mind. And I was recommending them because they're not associated with any of the special groups that already have representation.
So I'd like to, if I can, I'd like to go
Sure.
ahead and just state my thing. I do agree with you. Robert looks like a great candidate for all the reasons you said. He lives on LaGrange. He's not, you know, he's someone who uses the rink a lot, and he's been using it for years. I think he said something, he's in his 70s, or he gave a lot of information about who he was, and then who he also brings to the rink, which is not just his children historically, but is also now his grandchildren. So I thought a frequent user of the rink who didn't have any special interest. I do agree with you that he was one, but Debbie Hatz, I know, recused herself from this meeting, but you're thinking, even though she's someone who has an interest in a lot of uses of the park and also children and grandchildren, you're thinking because of her affiliation with Friends of Lars Anderson, that's not an appropriate person? Is
And
that,
she's also a commissioner, so
she's
do we
also a
want,
commissioner?
Yeah.
do
So
we
that
want 2
becomes-
commissioners? So that's the only reason I didn't
Okay.
recommend Debbie.
Okay, it's it's too bad we had a reply, but that the my thing is, I know Wadna, he's a precinct 15 town meeting member. I didn't personally, I reached out to him to find out what his interest was. I didn't really quite get anything other than he's a lawyer and he's sort of lives near it and a user. So the person I really was impressed with was Isabel Taub, who's actually someone who is has a interest in the park and also has written a book, written books on in Lars Anderson. So I thought she brings a very good historical art type of perspective, architecture perspective to that. Not that you're not a landscape architect, Clara, and representing us very well, but I do think Isabel has some strengths that are just not seen in some of the other candidates that I saw. So if it came down to it for me, it would be Robert and Isabel, just because of their interest in where they are. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you for sharing that. Let's listen. Does anyone else have in mind someone would like to comment on sort of the 3 people now we've mentioned?
I have all my notes here and I can't believe I don't have this info. There was one person who was into ice skating and I can't remember which one it
Figure
was.
skating, that was Sarah. She was an occupational therapist.
Oh, but
But-
she's from out of town. That's right.
Right, she's out of
Yeah,
town.
she's
That
from
that was the
JP.
that was
Okay.
the I didn't
was
know how
wondering-
the town was excluded, but
Oh,
she's
yeah,
out
I
of
see
town.
this now next to her name because,
Yeah.
but I just crossed her off because she was.
I did
on
like
there.
her too, but
Yeah, yeah.
for that reason.
And a little explanation, I think, you know, some of the abutters who aren't Brookline Town residents had said they wish they were more informed. And so they were sent announcements about this meeting, but they weren't informed that non-Brookline residents couldn't serve. So that was an oversight. So they thought like, well, great, it's coming up, I'll apply. But that was the confusion there. So Lauren Bernard has her hand up. Can we go ahead?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I'm sorry. I'm out. I had an appointment and I just like had to stop in a parking lot, so I don't. My camera's messing up my reception, so I turned it off. So I also liked Sarah and didn't realize till after a few minutes she wasn't a resident. But
Right.
I'm trying to understand. Maybe because I couldn't, like I said, log in at the very beginning, but you're saying, Clara, that in addition to you, in addition to preservation, I mean, our task tonight is to nominate two people from the general public, right? To select two people from the general public. But you're saying that the other groups already have their person on this committee, right?
Well, so just to clarify,
Uh-huh.
because we had 11 names,
Right.
3 were non-residents, and then just so you know that Mary Dewart and Andrew Mullins have been nominated or recommended, Mary to represent the Friends of Lars
Uh-huh.
Anderson and Andrew to represent the hockey interest. So they're already, their
Okay.
names are always already in
Right.
front of
Right.
the board of
That's
the
okay.
select board. So that leaves us with 8.
So my thing is, if we have, the person who's from hockey is looking at a very particular use of the rink. I think it would behoove us to put, what is the other big user of the rink? It's figure skating, right? It's public skating.
Public skating.
Somebody who uses it in a very recreational manner. Now, maybe this first gentleman, I'm sorry, I can't remember the names right now on my notes. I can't. Like I
Robert,
said,
all we know is Robert. I
Robert.
think Robert,
Robert, who lives on
Robert from
LaGrange.
LaGrange Street. We don't know his last name.
And,
Right,
and
it's just Rob.
Wagner.
Yeah.
And Wagner Ogie, sorry. Wagner Ogie.
I mean,
saying it wrong
I would, I did like the person that Jane Isabel, that I thought she was interesting and added another dimension. But, my thing is, I would really like there to be somebody who is just sort of, lack of better word, an all-purpose user of the rink, a public skating person, a person who, sees the rink as a public benefit and a park in and of its own right, and doesn't, isn't going to bring a different set of values to the committee other than just someone who loves skating. If Robert is one of these people, that's great. But I think it's important because otherwise it becomes, a committee that has representation from, as Clara put it, different interest groups. And what we want to do is come up with a process and a rink that is going to serve the greatest number of people. And frankly, I mean, I realize this is the select board, but I find it very puzzling that they only want one commissioner on this because, I mean, for example, the Article 23 group committee, which is what which is what became the equity initiative and then became this award-winning program that, the recreation department is recognized for over and over. There were like 3 commissioners on it. So, I mean, I should probably take my beef to the select board, but I find it very surprising that, something of this magnitude would only have one person from the commission, but that's just me. But I do want to make sure just the people, people who just are all-purpose users, for no better word, of the rink, are just represented, public skating people. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you. And one reason Isabel wasn't one of my top 2 choices is because she's so associated with historic preservation, and we have a representative of historic preservation. But Jane, your hand's raised again, so go right ahead.
My question is, I'm going to be right out there and say this is, Brookline Youth Hockey actually gets the best rates and kind of the preferred times and the preferred rates. Tim, I've mentioned this before. And I would be much more concerned about the high school hockey team or some other non-private entity representative of hockey. Brookline Youth Hockey is not public any more than the Boston Skating Club is public. So I kind of think I'm capitalizing maybe a little bit on what Lauren's saying. I really like the idea of what you said, Clara, around general uses of the rink
Right.
as a public piece of this. And when I see private, that changes the dynamic. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's different. And it's also interesting that, again, they get the preferred times and the preferred rates. I know in Andrew's application, he talked about how much he raised, but that wouldn't be the same as if he was public. So I have a concern with that. So I'm questioning, why is he an automatic to that? I'd much rather see someone who was involved in the high school team.
We had nothing to do with that. I was
Oh,
just
okay.
told, I was
Okay.
just told that Mary was
Okay.
put forward as the Friends of Lars Anderson and that Andrew was put forward to represent the hockey interest. And now
Okay.
we're supposed to recommend 2 people to the select board, and they can choose to reject our recommendation, but we are recommending 2 people who, quote, represent the general public. So
Okay.
that's
I
why.
appreciate you explaining that, because it's a concern, because it just seems to raise a lot of issues with the public when it's not, when it's private entities as opposed to the public entities. So that's where I was coming from. But thank you for clarifying that.
I mean, I think that's a very sound criticism and observation, or call it what you will, but we did not,
Yeah, we didn't
we
have
had
say in
nothing
that.
to do with that.
Got
I
it.
think they were asked to submit their applications to the general public, but then they were selected by their groups
Mhm.
to go forward. So any other
Yeah,
observations? Oh, Carol, you wanna?
yeah, I wanted to talk about Arlene. She's somebody who has worked with this design person. It says in her application, what was her name? Thompson?
Yes, yeah, yes. Mary Ann Thompson is our architect that has been.
Well, I wonder if that's if that's a good thing that she's had experience working with her, or maybe it's a bad thing that she's had experience working with her. I don't know, but
I read Arlene's application. She really did. She talked about her experience as in the nonprofit world.
Right,
And
right.
I thought just because she worked with that architect before, maybe it was, I thought that really was neither here nor there.
Okay,
Because whoever has to be on this group has to work with the architect who's been selected. So I have to say that wasn't a plus. That was almost more of a negative. But anyway, Michael, you're on mute, but there
Yeah,
you go.
I just wanted to, I went through my short list again because I had a couple people that were out of towners, but on my short list originally, I also had Robert. I thought that he had a really balanced, convincing letter, and I don't know, I just liked his story. I thought that he presented well. And hearing more about him, I think it just further enforces my opinion. And then I think I would be happy with either Isabel or Wadner, and if it came down to a vote, I might go with Isabel just because she mentioned that she had skated at the rink before as a child, and it didn't say much about the rink in Wadner's writing. But that's just my take.
I thought Wadner said he skated there with his children. Did he not say that?
yes.
Jane, you're talking, but you're
Sorry,
muted.
I'm muted. Sorry. He says he goes there with his children. I really would love to know, because he's a great town meeting member, a great colleague. I would love to know more why he was applying for this particular thing. So I just don't know that. So that's why I favor Isabel, because she did skate there. She does have this, I know we have preservation people and whatnot, but I do think someone who's kind of written a book on it, Lars Anderson, has a true appreciation of it, as well as being a resident and whatnot. So that's, I could be happy with either, but I really like Isabel for those reasons. Because of her skating, like she actually skates there. Like I want, just like Robert, who skates there. Like that's who I want. Just kind of that perspective of people who enjoy it for what it is.
Well, it didn't say in his application, but Wadner I know has younger children. I
He
was
does.
interested.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Teresa, do you know anything about Wadner?
Yeah, I think we've crossed paths in Brooklyn Education Foundation events. And also just familiar with his work as town meeting member. I was a fan of Wadner because I am intrigued by the background that he would bring to this from like zoning process,
Right,
and also just having his work on town meeting thus far, I think is intriguing. I also just think it's important to have a range of voices, which we've all expressed here. And I think as far as I can tell, the preservation aspect seems to be pretty well covered by the other seats on there. And so I don't necessarily feel as though we need somebody who is coming in particularly from that lens. Instead, it would be nice to have some more diverse voices speaking to different aspects of Lars, like we've said. So to that regard, I do feel like Wadner would be somebody I would vote for more over Isabel, who I know is here. But I think we have a good representation from the preservation side of things already.
Thank you, Teresa. Is there any other comment from a commissioner? Since it seems like everybody is in favor of Robert Franklin, we get 2 votes, so shall we vote? Would someone like to nominate Robert, and then we'll nominate the next person and see if they get a majority of votes, and if not, we'll nominate the third. I mean, I guess I'm proposing, let's nominate Franklin, then let's nominate Wadner, and if he doesn't get a majority, then we'll nominate Isabel.
Okay,
So-
sounds good.
Okay, so would someone like to propose?
I
Robert,
propose that we have Robert on LaGrange as, I don't know what Robert's last name is, but he's Robert on LaGrange.
Franklin, I think is his last
Oh,
name.
okay.
Okay, do we have a second for Robert?
I'll second that.
Okay, nominated by Carol and seconded by Teresa, and I will call your name as I see you on the screen. Carol.
Yes, yes for
Yeah.
Robert.
Thank you. Michael.
Yes.
Jane.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
And I vote yes. So it's unanimous for Robert, that he is one of the 2 people we're going to recommend to the select board to represent the general public. So now, I think as chair, I'm allowed to nominate people. So I'd like to nominate Wadner Oji as our second person to recommend to the select board. Do I have a second on that?
Second,
And, okay, so Clara nominated, Carol seconded. I will call your name. And if he gets a majority of votes, he is the second person. If he doesn't, we'll go to the third. Any questions about the process?
No.
Carol,
yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane. You're
All right, no.
no. Teresa,
Yes.
Lauren,
I'm undecided.
well, I'm going to vote yes.
I abstain.
Okay, for Robert. So that means there's only 6 of us because Debbie did not come because she wanted to abstain because she's running. So for in terms of Wadner, there's 4 yeses, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So Wadner will be our second.
Wadner.
Wadner, W-A.
Wadner Ogie, and I am definitely fine with him. It just wasn't my second
Yes.
choice, but I'm definitely
Yes.
fine with him, so.
That's great.
Great.
It's W-A.
Just wish I knew more why he wanted to do it.
Pardon me?
He just kind of talks about being a lawyer and living nearby. He really doesn't talk about skating there, so I just would like to know more about him, but that's fine.
I felt the
Definitely.
same. I feel the same way as Jane. I don't want to vote against him. I would
That's
have liked
kind of how
to.
I feel. I feel guilty voting against him. I know he's a nice
Yeah.
guy.
I know him a
Understood.
little bit. He had a kid at the FRR school.
Mhm.
So I think we have our 2 candidates who
Great.
are going to, who the Park and Recreation Commission is recommending to the select board, excuse me, as representatives of the general public. So it's my understanding that Mealy and Tim will write a memo to the select board giving these 2 names. And I think that is, Tim or Millie, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I just wanted to confirm that. So after tonight, we'll prepare a memo with the recommendations. We'll send it off to Melanie in the select board's office along with all the applications for the select board to consider. The select board's meeting is next Tuesday where they'll be taking this up and appointing. I know we have our own commission meeting that time, but Millie or I will jump over during that period as well to make sure it's represented. But that will go over tomorrow with our recommendation. And then again, next Tuesday is when the final appointments will be.
So now I have to ask, did I make a mistake by not asking people's comments from the general public, or was this just for us to discuss?
Well, they didn't have the applications.
Right, okay, that's true.
And we didn't post anything about public comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't. They did have their applications though. It is publicly
That
available.
is, the applications were publicly available.
Oh,
It's just,
oh,
it's not
okay.
public comment on
I
it.
mean, that I'm confused because this was called a public hearing, wasn't it?
No, I think it wasn't, it was open to the public, but not a public hearing. I'm sorry, someone has, Benedict Hollowell has his hand raised.
Hi,
Hi.
Benedict Hallowell here, town meeting member and board of Lars Anderson. I was at all the meetings with Mary Ann Thompson and all the people for days on all this. And I respectfully, I looked at what was sent out about these applicants. And I am concerned with the comments that we don't need more people who are involved, or skaters or historic preservation. I strongly disagree. I was very involved in the Mary Ann Thompson process, and I'm an art historian. I know the hill, I know the park. You want everybody, and I was going to serve, but Mary Duarte really wanted to. So I just want you to know that I've been working on that park for 4+ years, more than you all have, and you really want all eyes on that change. You only have $8 million to fix up a rink and the warming hut, and Mary Ann's going to be great at being able to deal with that building without, suggesting to take it down, which there's no money to do, and change and alter the space. But you want all eyes who have creative, thoughtful, historic interests. And I think you just voted wrong. Isabel Taub, I've read her some of her things that she's written, and she's grown up there. Wadner is a town meeting member, fellow town meeting member. I've never seen him up there. I've been up there, 20 years now in Brooklyn. I've been up there, and I've never seen him up there. I can't wait to see him tomorrow and ask him what on earth is he applying for this for. No offense, Wadner, if you're watching, but somebody who has grown up historic, understanding, thoughtful, as that application from Isabel Taub or Taubie or whatever it is. I think you've just made a big mistake there, and I'm sorry, because I've spent so much time on this, and you just just missed it there. I wish you had taken public comment.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? All right. We have a motion to adjourn. And any commissioner want a motion to adjourn?
Sure,
I
I
think-
move to adjourn.
Yep. I was
Teresa,
just,
did-
no,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna just quickly say that like Clara has mentioned at the start of this process, start of this meeting, this is a recommendation from the Park and Recreation Commission. The select board, by all means, can override us, and they have in the past. So if you have strong feelings otherwise, and that includes members of the public, members of the commission, if you feel strongly about any of the other applicants, then by all means, it is your right to make that recommendation to the select board. But I think our recommendations coming out of tonight are in line with our priorities and our and the interest of Parks and Recreation. And so I just feel like your statement, Benedict, warranted a response. So I wanted to respond in that way. But now more hands raised, so sorry. So
Thanks, Teresa. That's fine. That's fine. I'm glad you spoke up. Okay, Carla, go ahead.
Thank you. I have just a kind of a fundamental question. Who is in charge of overseeing this entire project? Is it the building commission?
as I understand it, it's a building commission project, but the design review is a three-way review, co-chaired by the select board, the building department, and the Parks and Recreation Commission.
And is that, I've looked online and that is not following the usual open space design panel, and it's not following the usual building committee of 7. So is this a new approach for a design review that is not in any bylaw?
Well, it's my understanding that in addition to the committee of 7, they wanted 2 people to this had a process that they wanted certain commissions and groups represented, and they also wanted 2 people from the general public. Now, when we do design review, we always have the general public represented. So they used our process to find these 2 people from the general public.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
And the they that wanted this is the building commission?
Maybe Mealy can say who. It was my understanding it was the select board, the building commission, and the Parks and Recreation who formed who should be on this committee. And you know, preservation, recreation, I forget who else, building committee, all this. And then, and 2 people from the general public. I was not part of those discussions, but building, Park and Rec, maybe Mealy was on it. We did, and the select board. They're the ones, those 3 groups established who would be on it.
Okay, I'm not questioning the makeup of the committee. I mean, I think it's perfectly fine. And who am I to say whether it is or it isn't? I'm just curious about kind of the process that's being used here, and do people understand the difference between the authority of the building commission in this project versus the design review committee?
Well, the building's on the design review committee, the building commission.
No, I understand, but in terms of negotiating the contract and signing contracts and signing the okays on the, Millie's nodding her head, she knows the drill.
So let Millie answer that.
Carla, to your point, yes, you are correct. This is technically a building project overseen by building commission. But design review committee, because there's so many different stakeholders within town, the user groups and different stakeholders involved. This is a very special DRC committee. You know, it was formed in a very different way, and it was appointed by the select board for that reason. But to your basic first question, this is a building project and it will be overseen by the building commission. And the building commission was the one who reviewed Marianne Thompson's proposal and you know, approved their contract for this initial concept phase, you know, which will be when, you know, we're going through the design review process. And then going forward, everything, you know, will follow the typical building commission process.
Okay, so and does this committee have a specific charge? If it's approved by the select board, generally select boards give the committee a specific charge, or this is what we expect you to do. And that kind of defines their role and the parameters of their authority.
Right. So yes, there is a charge for the design review committee. You know, the initial phase of this project will be looking at different concepts and different ideas and options for the ice rink from, you know, all different lenses, you know, in terms of recreation, for hockey, for preservation, in terms of, you know, the programming needs for the warming hut, the mechanical need for the, you know, for making the ice and the building associated with that, and also, you know, thinking beyond just the ice rink and thinking about seasonal use, you know, for other than winter. So all of that charge, you know, the designers, Marian Thompson, is going to be over the next 3 design review meetings, proposing different ideas to the design review committee. And the design reviews committee's really charge is to review those designs, review those different ideas, and listen to the perspectives of the design of the consultants, listen to the voices of the different stakeholders and also community members, and provide direction and feedback to the consultant team so they can develop the design further. So at the end of the design review process, there will be a concept finalized, which the consultant will get the cost estimates for, so that we understand what the cost of the, you know, all of this historic restoration and then upgrade of the rink and, you know, upgrade of the warming hut and mechanical buildings are going to be. Then we're going to use that concept as you know, as a baseline to develop the project further, so that at the end of all of this, you know, we can actually create design documentation to build it. But typically in park process, the charge of the design review committee ends at the end of concept phase.
Okay, all right, great. Thank you very much.
Jane has had her hand up patiently. Do you want to add something, Jane?
Yeah, I just want to add one comment, and it's really just a comment. Wadna Ogie nowhere in his application states he has children or that he takes them to the park. So I just want to say that that's nice information that people have about him on a personal level, as do I, but it's not in his application. He really talks about being on the ZBA and as a lawyer, and I did reach out to him to find out what was his interest. So I have that concern that, you know, other aspects were brought in that are not necessarily evident in the application. I'm also very concerned that a Park and Rec commissioner has put her application in over a week ago, and no one told her, oh, by the way, you don't qualify because you're already on Park and Rec, and therefore you should be at the meeting and not recuse yourself, and in fact, you should withdraw your application. I just don't think that was a very good process. So I think I'm very process-oriented. I have a real problem with the way we just followed process, and I just want to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. I know that we had to get in our recommendation by this evening. I think it was. That's why we're meeting now, as I understand it.
I don't think that refers to anything that I'm saying. I think that Debbie Hatch should have been told to withdraw her application because she wouldn't be considered. That's how unclear the process is, which I think is some of the points that are being made by others.
But Jane, that was my recommendation. People could have disagreed with me. I don't think that was.
Oh, I don't think that's how it came off, Clara. I'm sorry. It came off as we cannot basically have a second Park and Rec commissioner. And again, if that was the case, Debbie should have been notified of that. And instead, she went from a handwritten to a printed version and has recused herself. So I think it's been very unclear.
Well, I think what I said is I don't think we should have 2 representatives from any one body. And it was never a rule. And I think people agreed, but you did not, you know.
I did question it. I think we're just going to have to respectfully disagree on it. Thank you.
Okay, that's part of the record then. Thank you, Jane. Lauren. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'd like to go on the record. I concur with Jane. I mean, I feel like this whole thing has been murky. And, you know, if Debbie wasn't going to be able to be even considered, someone should have said to her, withdraw your application and attend the meeting, because you're going to be able to take a vote on the other people. I mean, the vote, it just, I completely agree with Jane. I mean, this whole thing has felt unclear and sort of murky. I can't really think of a better word right now, but and you know, I'm not saying it was done purposely, but you know, it just, I don't think we should be sort of like learning the ropes as we go here. And that's what it feels like. I mean, Debbie should have been here tonight and had a vote, you know, and I don't think that this went well. I don't think we followed procedure correctly. And I want to be on the record as that's part of why I abstained. I mean, the whole thing
Well,
just didn't feel right.
you can call for a revote. I mean, we can,
Well,
if people want.
I want to
if-
call for a revote with
But we're
Debbie
on the
here.
losing side of the vote, so we
Pardon
can't
me?
call. We're on the losing side of that vote, which by Robert's rules, we're not the people that can call for that.
Right.
But
I mean,
if,
but
if-
that's why I'm saying I abstained, because the whole thing didn't feel right. But I mean, but I think Jane's right. Neither she nor I could call for a revote because it has to be done by, I don't know if if someone abstains is considered on the losing
well,
side.
I'll call for a revote because if people want to vote again, that's fine.
But I
So
don't think we
would
can
ask
call for a revote without Debbie being here, because she's not here because she thought she was following a process correctly. And in fact,
No, she could be, there's nothing in the rules that say she couldn't serve. My recommendation is to have the widest, what I said in the beginning was to have the widest number of people representing the most groups and not to weight it towards one or the other. But if you want to weight it towards a Park and Recreation Commission, that's for the commission to decide. So I would say Debbie shouldn't be here because you can vote for her. And so what I would like people to do is nominate, and let's see if we can get a majority for each person is qualified. I would not recommending nominating Mary Dewart or Andrew because they shouldn't get 2 votes. I think everybody can agree to that. They're already being recommended. But I think if people want to consider people that are already on the commission, we could have 2 commissioners. There's no rule that says you can't have 2 commissioners. I was recommending we have people from the general public that aren't associated with any commission or group. But I think I would like this to be the cleanest, clearest vote. And so Teresa has her hand up. Teresa, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I would just wanted to share that there was never a request made to Debbie to not attend the meeting. And in fact, applicants from the general public, Isabel and Mary, are also here. So I think that was a decision that Debbie made for herself. And there was no exchange that you can't come to this meeting and listen in on this discussion. So I think that is important information to put out there. And maybe she feels a certain way about attending and, having people speak about her application and didn't want to be part of that. But I just think it is important to share that was a decision that she made on her own to not attend. But I would agree with your statement, Clara, that if we need a revote, I'm all in favor of calling for a revote and seeing who else we want to put forward.
And Debbie did email me that she felt she couldn't vote and she wasn't going to come to the meeting. And I wrote her back, said, I agree, you shouldn't vote. And thanks for her email. I didn't say you could come or you couldn't come. She didn't want to come, was the impression I got. So we are talking among the commissioners now about a revote. Okay, so I think let's revote. Anybody, I'd say you can vote for one of 6 people. 6 people are eligible no matter what they represent. And so does anyone want to I think let's just revote for both people so everyone feels they got to vote. Benedict, I'm not going to recognize you. You spoke, which I think was very helpful. You made your concerns clear, but now we're going to take a revote. So does anyone want to recommend one of the?
A point of order.
Yes.
I believe I saw Michael talk about somebody else that he was going to vote for. Michael, no, not trying to put you on the spot. We've never met, or we have met. But I thought I heard you, for example, say that you were going to vote for Bob and Isabel, and then you're allowed to change your vote. But I got the feeling that you weren't able to vote because Wadner was put up second. So I just feel like that was out of order. And I can just say to you all, you want people coming to these meetings already on deck and ready and understanding that ice rink. And I have been doing this for 5 years on Lars Anderson. I love Wadner, never seen him in any of the meetings regarding skating whatsoever. You need people who are ready to go because it's going to be a very small project to be able to accomplish.
Thank you, Benedict. Okay. So right now we're not recommending any, we're starting over. Does anybody
Wait,
want to recommend?
Wait, Clara, can I just, a point of order for me? I'm just confused, okay? So Debbie is neither, so are we allowed to consider her candidacy?
I
Um,
think we should nominate people. Yeah, you can nominate who you
No,
want.
I'm just trying to understand now. She did not, I read her email, she did not attend the meeting because she thought she was going to be considered and felt rightly so that it would be a conflict of interest for her to vote on people, including herself.
Mm.
However, if from the get-go, she's not going to be considered, why can't she attend a meeting and vote on the other people who are being considered?
Lauren, she is being considered. I'm saying
Okay.
everyone, we had 11 people apply.
Right.
3 don't live in Brookline.
Right.
They don't get to be on it. 2 people have already been recommended to the select board. So,
Right.
so
I
that leaves
understand all
us
that.
with 6 people. All 6 are eligible. It was
Okay.
my recommendation, which you may choose to ignore, that we have people not representing specific groups because they're already on the commission. But you could say, no, I want it more weighted to this or that. So I'm asking people to nominate,
So
So I have so we have 6 eligible people, of which
I think
one
it's only
is-
5 because we crossed off Ethan because he never filled out the application.
right.
Well,
He
Why
sent
don't
in a
we,
blank
just for
app.
clarity's sake, and because this is a public meeting, because it's on the record, can we just list the 5 people who are under consideration? Just list their names?
But Carol, I would say Ethan I mean, he submitted an application. He did not give us reasons.
Oh, okay,
For
so
being,
he's
he didn't
eligible.
give us his reasons. So we as a group said we don't want to consider him, but he's
Okay.
still being considered. So the
Okay.
people who we can vote for are Ethan Yakovitz of 266 Allendale Road, Robert Franklin of 145 LaGrange Street, Wagner Oji of 147 Newton Street, Isabel Top of 770 Upland Road, Debbie Hatz, and I don't have her address, I'm sorry.
25 Whitney Road.
Thank you.
And
That's it.
Arlene somebody or other.
No, Arlene
Jamaica Plain.
lives in Jamaica Plain.
Arlene doesn't. I didn't think.
Arlene is in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah,
Arlene
she's in
Fortunato.
Chestnut Hill. Yeah, it's on Whitney Street.
Correct.
Oh, Arlene, you're right. I'm sorry. Wrong name.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I don't
Arlene
have.
is on yes. She's on Whitney as well, 10 Whitney.
Oh, yes, we have, you're right. Okay, so it's Arlene Fortunato, Ethan Yakovitch, Robert Franklin, Wadger Oji, Isabel Taub, Debbie Hatz. Did I get 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are the 6. Excuse me, Arlene, she is definitely eligible. So I would like someone to nominate someone. Carol.
I nominate Robert Franklin.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, so I will call your name as I see you on the screen. Carol,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So it's unanimous for Franklin and Robert Franklin. So we have one recommendation. Do we have someone else who would like to nominate someone?
I would like to nominate Debbie Hatz for all the reasons that I also feel Robert's a strong candidate. She's a lifelong resident. She's the user of the park, not only with her own children, her grandchildren, and for multiple users of that. So I would like to nominate her.
Do we have a second?
Yes, I second.
Okay, I will call your name as I see you on the screen. Carol,
No.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Teresa,
No.
Lauren,
Yes.
and I vote no. So that is, we're 6, correct?
Correct.
And
1, 2, 3, 4, 4 to 3.
No, there are only 6 of us. They're
It's
not
4 to
7.
2, 4 no's. 2 yes.
Okay, who voted no? So
But Michael, Lauren, and I voted yes.
so they're 3-3.
It's 3-3.
1, 2,
Sorry, my apologies on the
four.
count.
There's only 6 of us on the call.
Okay.
I mean, is it useful to go through the list, take a vote on each person, and then have sort of runoffs, so to
Maybe
speak?
that would be a good idea.
I think, because I propose that.
Is there a process on when we have a tie and the,
Teresa,
there's
what's
not
your
a tie.
question? I didn't hear that.
Is
Sorry.
there a process for when we have a 3-3 tie?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
So,
Usually the item or doesn't move forward and we move on to the next to see what will happen.
That's what I
shall
was
we
about.
see if shall we see if we get someone who's a majority that's
Right.
4-2?
I think we should go through all the candidates and see what kind of votes we get on each of them.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay, so Lauren, do you want to make a movement that we vote on the remaining 5 candidates and
I
see
move
what
to
they think?
vote on the remaining 5 candidates,
There
yes.
aren't 5.
Do we have a second?
Yes, this is Jane. Yes.
Jane seconds it. Tim, you wanted to say something?
I just want to say something for what it's worth. A reminder that this is a recommendation. If we feel we can't decide and if we want to put forward 3, because it's just a recommendation to the select board, there's no reason why we can't do that. So if we're in a deadlock tie, we should be able to put forward, again, another on top of it. If we want to go that route, if we really are stuck, because at the end of the day, select board has the final say.
So I think that's great. So let's
Mhm.
vote on everybody. We'll say that we won't vote on Robert again. He was unanimous. I'm just gonna give the name and then we're gonna have a yes or no. Okay, so the first person who's eligible, according to my list, is Arlene Fortunato. So I'm gonna call your names and say yes or no. Okay, Carol,
Yes.
you say yes to Arlene?
Yes to Arlene.
Okay, Michael,
No.
Jane,
No.
Teresa,
No.
Lauren.
No.
Okay, and I vote no. So let's the record show that 5 were opposed and 1 was, did I get that right? 1 was in favor of
Aye.
Arlene. All in agreement on that? Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna go to Ethan Yakovitz, who did put in an application but did not say why he wanted to be on the park. So I'm gonna read names. Carol,
No.
Michael,
No.
Jane,
No.
Teresa,
No.
Lauren.
No.
Okay, and I say no, so no one, that's 0, 4, 6 opposed. The next name we're gonna skip because that's Robert. He was unanimous in favor of. The next person is Wadner OG. Carol,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
No.
Teresa,
Yes.
Lauren,
No.
and I vote yes. So that's 4-2 for Wadner. Isabel Taub is the next person. I'm gonna call names. Carol,
No.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Lauren, Teresa,
No.
Lauren,
Yes.
and I vote no. So that's again
3-3.
3-3. And just to so Debbie, we voted on, right? That was 3-3, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're not gonna revote. Does anyone want to revote on Debbie? Let's
don't-
just revote on Debbie to make it clean. Carol,
No.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
sorry, Lauren,
Yes.
and I vote
Well,
No.
Teresa, you forgot
Teresa. I always forget Teresa. Teresa,
Sorry. No.
Lauren,
I think I already voted yes.
okay, and I vote no, so that's 3-3. And that's everyone that we voted on everyone. So we will recommend 3.
Why?
No, it would be Wadner and, I mean,
We
we have 2
recommend,
ties at 3rd place, if you will.
Pardon me?
Correct.
But what we have is Wadner and Richard have, Robert, excuse me, have, Robert
Robert,
was unanimous. Wadner was 4-2, and then we had 2 at 3-3. So we have a first and a second.
Debbie was,
Debbie
three,
and
and Isabel was.
Debbie and
3-3.
Isabella tied at 3rd.
and what was Wadner?
He received
4-2.
4 votes to 2.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. Thank you.
yeah, so you have 2 people.
We
I
have
know.
2 people we're
Yeah.
recommending.
2 people. It's Wadner and Robert. I'm going to call him Richard, but Robert. So we have those 2 people that have prevailed. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
And Tim and Neely, if you want to give the select board our vote, you can do that, whatever you think's best.
Okay.
But right now, the highest vote getters. Thank you Jane, thank you for
Yeah,
straightening me out.
Yeah, it's been a process.
That would be Robert and Wadner were the
Mhm.
highest vote getters. So those would be, by majority rules, those would be the 2 we're recommending to the board. Okay.
Mhm.
Any other comments from the commissioners? A little messier than I'd hoped, but we
Yep.
made it through.
We did.
Okay. Okay, then I think our meeting is over.
Mhm.
Do we have a motion
I'll
to?
make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate that.
And
Do
I'll
we have-
second it.
There you go,
Thank
Carol.
Jane. Carol, so I think because we're Zoom, I have to have a vote. Carol,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Thank you all very, very much. And I'll
Thank
see you
you.
next Tuesday for our regular scheduled meeting.
Sounds good. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Thank you. Good
Bye,
night.
Good
everyone.
night.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye.
Nice to see everyone.